Welcome to another episode of the Pillow Fright Podcast. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Emma.
And we are your three besties here to keep you in the loop with all things horror.
Let's see what's going on in the world of horror. Let's do the news.
The news. So Mike Flanagan is in talks to do the Carrie TV series with MGM/Amazon, and he's going to write, direct, and showrun, which is pretty awesome. The series logline describes it as, quote, bold and timely reimagining of the story of misfit high schooler Carrie White, who has spent her life in seclusion with her domineering mother. After her father's sudden and untimely death, Carrie finds herself contending with the alien landscape of public high school, a bullying scandal that shatters her community, and the emergence of mysterious telekinetic powers. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see this as a series because that's more like along the lines of the book, because the book is kind of written documentary style. So that's going to be really cool.
I wonder if he's going to stay close to the source material or if he's going to do his own thing.
I mean, I had thought I read that Stephen King himself was involved.
He is.
So, I mean, considering his opinions on some of the past works, if I was him, I'd be involved in anything that's my brainchild as well. But I'm interested to see more like how Mike Flanagan does this, because all of his stuff is so haunting. And this isn't like a ghost story, or I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued.
I think we're sure to get a lot of monologues.
Yeah.
Fair.
There's so many adaptations out there that it's got to be different. So I'm excited.
Could be the Rage.
He'll do the Rage part 2. Is
there a Rage part 2, or am I just being...
No, but there is another Carrie. There is another Carrie that was a TV movie with... All of a sudden I'm spacing out. I have brain fog from sickness, so today is going to be a lot of spacing out. But what's her face from May? And Bettis.
Bettis. Jesus.
Bettis. Yeah, I can't think of names for the life of me today. But yeah, she's a good Carrie. She was pretty good.
It was a weird movie, but...
Weird movie.
Well, next up, we've got Christopher Landon is back with an ode to De Palma called Drop. We got a poster and we got a release date, April 11th, 2025. The story apparently is a widowed mother on her first date in years arrives at an upscale restaurant where she's relieved that her date, Henry, is more charming and handsome than she expected. But their chemistry begins to curdle as Violet begins being irritated and then terrorized by a series of anonymous drops to her phone. Is it drop to your phone when someone sends you a picture or something?
Like airdrop?
Yeah. Like they airdrop it to you and you don't have a choice.
Oh, yes. I've had that happen before. She's instructed to tell nobody, follows instructions, or the hooded figure she sees on her home security cameras will kill her young son and babysitting sister. Violet must do exactly as directed or everyone she loves will die. Her unseen tormentor's final directive, kill Henry. Wow, this is giving a lot away here.
I just love that whoever wrote this used the word curdled.
It's produced by Jason Blum and Michael Bay. I think he's probably back with some Platinum Dunes action here. All right. Well, I actually had that happen to me once. I was at New Beverly Theater. I was seeing a midnight screening of House of a Thousand Corpses, and someone I thought it was my best friend John because he was there, and it seems like something he would do. I started getting pictures to my phone, and at first it was Captain Spaulding, and then it just got weirder and weirder. And I was just I texted John. I was just dude, stop sending me shit. What is this? He's like, I'm not sending you anything.
Oh God.
I know. So I'm just he's like, oh, it's probably just someone who saw that you had an airdrop open and thought they'd be funny. And I was like, yeah, but it was kind of creepy.
It's one of those things you don't think about where you don't want to leave your airdrop, your Wi-Fi open in public because anybody could hack it. And then you just, you don't think about that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Smile 2 knocks Terrifier 3 out of the box office, which, well, at least off the top slot, which, I haven't seen Smile 2, so I really can't comment on it besides the tons of marketing. But it did really great with the first one. So Smile 2 topped the box office with a $23 million domestic debut, the film's worldwide opening weekend hitting 46 million, which really, not that bad. How much was the film made for? Do you know?
It's got to be under 10 at a guess. I don't know that.
Good for them. And in addition to being the number one slot on the weekend, Smile 2 also opened higher than the original. So back in 2022, Smile opened to a 22.6 million in the United States. But granted, this was 2022. Maybe not everyone was going to movie theaters at that time. But they also, I don't know, I think they did a little bit of a better, no, well, maybe not, because you saw it and watched your review of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a movie. If you saw the first one, I don't know if you need to see this one because they didn't do anything new.
Is it a spoiler if I ask if Kyle Gallner is in it?
I mean, if you watch the trailer, I mean,
I didn't see him in the trailer. Did I just not pay attention to the trailer?
It's very quick and it shows his beginning and his end. Like, I'd say he's in about.
They show that in a trailer?
Yeah, that's why on my review I did this big rant of just like everything in this movie is spoiled by the trailer. Like every big moment in the movie is in that trailer. And it's
that's what they did for the first one. I remember I saw it when I went and saw Nope, and I think we may probably talked about this at a different episode. But when I went and saw Nope in theaters, I saw 2 separate trailers for Smile 2, and I was basically going, well, I've seen the movie. And then when the movie finally came to streaming, because I was like, why would I go and pay money for a movie that I've literally already seen? And when I watched it at home, when it came out on like whatever, I think it was Paramount, I was like, yeah, all the good scares from the movie were in the trailer. Of course, the best one being the like in the car window.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of if that wasn't in the trailer, that would have been effective. But since like that didn't, I thought it was silly because I saw the trailer.
Well, as soon as she got into a car, I was like, oh, okay, well, this is going to happen. You're just waiting for it. And that's not fun. And so when they did a lot of the scares for the Smile 2 trailer, part of it was just being like, is there anything left? Because if you guys have followed, and I really hope that they wouldn't, it's also kind of crazy, though, that they are so good at marketing, both with Smile and Smile 2. The marketing has been fantastic just for them to spoil the movie with the trailer. Like, what's the point?
It's frustrating for sure.
That's
because
very frustrating.
I think the movie was 2 hours and like 14 minutes. That's
God.
I sit there and I'm just like, well, I know what's coming next. If they didn't show, I think it's Ray Nicholson. I keep calling him Nepo Nicholson.
I like Nepo Nicholson. We're calling him.
Who's he a Nepo baby?
Nicholson?
Dad.
Nicholson.
Do I even live here? Like
have you?
No, but he also looks like him. And then in the trailer, they have him doing the smile. Like they have him doing the.
But it's very shining. Like if you see them side by side, you're like, oh, he's totally doing what his dad did.
The Kubrick stare. He's doing the Kubrick stare.
Jeez Louise.
But yeah, if they didn't show his spots in the trailer, I think it would have been really way more effective.
Wow.
I don't know. But you know what? It wasn't a bad movie. I would encourage people, if you've got like an AMC or Regal pass, go see it. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'll wait till it comes out on Paramount again.
Yeah, it'll be soon. I mean, it'll be like right after Halloween.
Probably. There's too much stuff already to watch for Halloween. I don't have time to watch anything else. I barely have time to watch the things I want to watch right now.
That's why you call work off. You got to call work off. Say you're sick and just spend 2 weeks watching.
Wait, what is the quote we have from Del Toro, the Beyond Fescues this year?
Oh, I got the shirt. That's fuck work, watch movies. It's true. It's true.
Have you guys watched anything this week that you were into?
I did. I watched so Shudder came out with a lot of new stuff, and it's been hard to watch when you're doing too much. It's like I can't sit down and watch something because there's like too many things going on. I don't want to watch anything new, but I was like, no, I'm gonna watch something good. I'm gonna watch something brand new. So I watched Oddity on Shudder.
Oh, Lord, that's good.
Oh, it was yes, it was good. I didn't see a trailer for it or anything. It's UK horror. And I'm going to pull up the name of the actress right now. So it's like starts out with, it's basically twins but she plays both twins, but they're not really ever in the same scene. So it's not that weird, like split screen stuff. But oddity comes from the fact that she works at an oddity shop.
Oh, okay.
Carolyn Bracken is so good in this, like as both sisters. She's so good. And I don't want to spoil it at all, but like it's super creepy. It's very unsettling. And I can't even say what the inspiration, where like a story inspiration would come from without it really spoiling the ending. But it definitely plugs a lot into haunted objects, cursed objects. And the sister runs, one of the twins runs an oddities shop that they inherited from their mother.
Ooh.
I mean, even the poster is so like, ugh. I absolutely loved that film. I had such, I don't know, and it, like late night watch, like after work, I was like, no, I will not sleep. I will watch horror. And it was so good. I really loved it.
Cool. I'm very proud. I finally caught up because I'm always a year or two behind on movies. And I think I've seen like 5 movies. I watched a couple weeks ago, actually, since the last time we talked about movies we've watched. I saw Men. I watched Abigail. I saw The Substance, and I rewatched Night of the Demons to prepare for a burlesque routine. But yeah, Men was interesting. That one I heard was very polarizing when it came out. It was one of those, what the hell did I just watch kind of endings. Abigail was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was different than what I thought it was going to be, but it's definitely a fun, just, throw on a movie, Friday night, movie night. The Substance was, I don't even know how to describe how I feel about The Substance, but it was beautiful. And the sound design is amazing. Demi Moore, girl, get it. Like, she's amazing. I love her. Definitely one where I could see how people could go to the extreme opposite ends on how they feel about that ending too. But yeah, that was, I get proud when I finally catch up on movies. So yeah, I'll finally watch the next set of movies from 2022 next week.
I think I'm the only person I've talked to that hated The Substance.
You hated it?
I hated it.
I haven't seen it.
I'm curious without spoilers, because I'm just curious because I know everyone I talked to loved it so much. I'm kind of in the middle, but leaning more towards I liked it. So I'm curious.
I thought that I was going to go into it as going to be my favorite movie of the year. And in the last 20 minutes of that movie, I wanted to leave. Like, I hated it.
Oh, wow. Patrick Hood, this is your test if you're listening.
I told him, and he was like, you're ridiculous. I don't believe you.
Well, I know I told someone to go see it, and at 1:30 in the morning, they texted me and they were like, I hate you. It's such a good movie, but I can't believe you told me to go see it. I loved it and I'll never watch it again. And then they said that 8 people walked out.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
The body horror is real, and that's cool. To me, it's the messaging. I don't want to spoil anything, but
yeah.
I just was hoping there would be more substance to The Substance.
Literal, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
What did you watch?
Oh, other than Smile 2, how you guys know me, I watch a lot of movies, but the thing I will talk about this podcast is I recently discovered on Tubi a show called Frogging. And it's real life, true crime stuff about people who've been frogged. And if you guys don't know what this is, it's when people break into your house and live in it while you're in it as well, hidden.
Isn't that squatting can be, you don't have to be there.
Yeah, no, they'll live between your walls or in your attic. And it's real, all these people, these crazy encounters of people living in their house unbeknownst to them while they're there. And
I didn't know that was the term. Oh,
yeah. And it is absolutely my new biggest fear. I thought my biggest fear before was home invasion. This takes it to another.
It is a home invasion, though. It's someone invading your space.
But it's there are security cameras set up and they're sleeping on their couch downstairs. You can see them laying on the couch with their dog. And you literally watch this creepy dude in the hoodie just roll upstairs. He's walking through their house and looking down at them while they're sleeping. But it's happened to tons of people.
That's terrifying.
It is.
I live in like a duplex and there's always sounds on the roof sometimes, or things like you just hear things in this old building. And I always think, because I actually had this thought when we first moved in, because there was some weird stuff going on. And I thought, what if somebody is living in our crawl space? Because we always heard noises up there, and maybe they still are.
90% of the stories on the show, I think there was like 10 episodes. So there was like 20 stories because there's 2 people per episode. Most of them were people who had just moved into somewhere new. And like, the person must have, like, a lot of times it was unhoused people, but they were usually like actual creepers. Like they would take your underwear, or one person had hollowed out a lot of the outlets in the house and they literally went to see why it wasn't working. They saw a fucking eyeball looking at them. Like, yeah,
that's real. Like that really happened.
So yeah, these are real stories. These are real people. So yeah, this is my new biggest fear, but I couldn't stop watching it. It's on Tubi. So
it's terrifying.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of really great horror television coming out right now. I will say Teacup, which is the new James Wan show, it's on Peacock. Teacup is like very disturbing and weird. And there's a lot of animals though. So if that's something that upsets you, I would maybe does the dog die this one a little bit and skip some parts. Oh, and then there's also Ryan Murphy's Grotesquerie.
I've heard that's great. I want to watch it.
I think I was super in it until probably episode 6. And then I kind of lost me a little bit. Big on religious horror, got a weird nun. But the kills in the first couple episodes are like Saw, Hannibal level, really art displays, really gorgeous with a G-O-R-E, just. But Niecy Nash she's freaking amazing in it. And then for comedy, if you're looking for horror comedy shows to watch, Ghosts is back, which is the American remake of the British show. School Spirits comes back this week, and I really liked that one.
Oh, that was canceled, no?
You have a second season, though.
On what, though?
On Paramount. I know, it came back.
That's crazy, because I heard that Paramount had canceled all of their shows because they didn't have any freaking money. I mean, I like that show. I'm just surprised. Yeah, because when Paramount announced that they had canceled literally everything on their slate, I was like, oh, that's a bummer. That show was good. It didn't have an ending. So awesome.
Yeah. No, that one's coming back. I'm really excited for that one. But my favorite show that I'm watching right now is definitely Hysteria on Peacock as well, which is the Bruce Campbell show about satanic panic and metal bands. So it's freaking perfect for this month.
My friend, his name from the Proto-Men, Murphy Weller, their song debuted, but they used one of their songs in that. So I'm pretty proud of him. And I forgot to do a shout out. So thanks for reminding me.
Hey,
so I'm really excited about that.
I feel like that's going to go on your monthly wrap up, Alyssa.
I have a short form about it that will release this week, tomorrow. So if you want to hear a little bit about the show, but it's got a ton of horror alums, like the little kid from Krampus. MJ Anthony plays Dylan, but yeah, he's the lead. And I also really love, which I haven't seen him yet because I'm not far enough along, but Garrett Dillahunt is in this. And I love him from Fear the Walking Dead. But then when I saw him in the movie he's more known for, it hurt a little bit. So
what movie?
Last House on the Left remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, oh, he looks great. And then I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
oh no, stop.
It has an unfortunately sexy cast.
Yeah, that's the best job.
I feel like that's a fucking quote.
It does. It really does. That's when I fell in love with Aaron Paul, and it really messed me up hard when I was like, wow, he is the most gorgeous man. And then I thought, nope. I actually liked that movie. I thought it was a good remake.
All right, well, guys, we got to talk about, we have a show debuting tomorrow that we made ourselves.
Tomorrow? Oh,
Friday.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Friday.
Tomorrow is Friday.
Yes. October 25th on our YouTube channel.
Wow.
It's about an hour long, and it's a retro Halloween special starring the three of us.
Yes, indeed.
Plus other amazing humans.
Lots of people. We got like all of our friends from the community to be in this really silly show with us.
And we couldn't have done it without all the Indiegogo supporters, which, wow, thank you so much.
They're our heroes.
They really are.
I mean, but for the modest amount of money we raised, I think we put together something really cool. And if you guys are fans of the Paul Lynde Halloween special from the 70s, you'll definitely like this. It's very cheesy and fun and campy.
I'm excited. I'm really excited to check it out.
Yeah, we haven't seen it, so I guess we'll wait till YouTube as well.
It'll be a fresh premiere for all of us. Except Emma.
I mean, I've seen it, but because my husband directed it, and he's also editing it, so I'm still producing on the end of grabbing different materials and stuff for him, and like getting other people on board and just producer shit in post. So I've seen it, but I haven't seen like a finished version of anything. And I've seen the scenes with some of the ones that are finished with special effects that are actually turned out really cool. Like,
oh, gosh, I didn't even think about the fact that it would have special effects. I'm so excited.
And I was so nervous about acting. I was really nervous to be in front of people who are normally like members of my crew as a filmmaker, watching me make an ass out of myself. And
proud of you. You did something that scared you.
It scared the shit out of me. Like, I was very ill.
Wow.
Because it was all nerves. Because as soon as it was over, I felt a million times.
Well, now you can be in front of the camera. You did it once. You'll never do it again?
No, never. I hated it.
Yeah,
it was nerve-wracking to me. I'm doing this podcast in general has been, as someone who doesn't like to be in front of the camera, as someone's very critical of themselves, it's definitely made me have to accept myself more. So
getting out of your comfort zone is a good thing.
But yes, you guys should watch our show. It's got Galen Howard, who's in a million different horror things. There's our friends band, Sun Season, and that's Liesl and Sean. Liesl's got a commercial for like Amazon.
Oh, yeah. She's all over the place, too.
I know. She's so when you turn on the TV, you're like, oh, yeah, there's Liesl. Becca McKendry's in it, who directed Glorious. And
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's a good atmospheric, old school variety show special. So tune in.
Just silly fun.
Tune in. Before we get into today's episode, I feel like this is one that really harkens back to what it's like to be a 12 or 13-year-old, where you're just like, no, you're old enough to want some autonomy and some agency, but you're still a little kid. I want to know what the two of you were like at 12, 13 years old.
This movie is very nostalgic for me and my sister because we owned it on Betamax and kids.
On Betamax?
On Betamax. If you did not know what a VHS was or are unfamiliar with the VCR, I'm not even going to go into what a Betamax is. Oh, that's for the ancient dinosaurs, pre-VHS. We had it on Betamax, and I will never forget the image of the eye in his palm. It's one of those, when you watch movies at a certain age and there's just that one part that you'll never forget. That was the part that scared my sister and I so much that was the only thing I remembered from the movie, because I hadn't seen it from start to finish and probably since we were kids. So it's a very nostalgic movie for me, and it feels very Monster Squad-y vibe too. But yeah, I was a combination of Terry and Glenn, I think, as a 12-year-old. I was just like that perfect balance where inside I was Terry, but outside I was just like Glenn, kind of, I don't know. I was shy, but not. I was a weird kid.
Yeah, I was thinking in the shower, I was like, the other day, I was like, God bless Steven Spielberg for like creating one of my favorite like subgenres ever. I always call it like kids on bikes. And I think to me, Monster Squad, Goonies, The Gate, Stranger Things now, like I love all of these things.
Yeah. Stephen King, all that stuff. Yeah.
But it's so nostalgic to what it was like for me growing up, I think, because I grew up like in this, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. And so we were always on our bikes. And I was such a tomboy. I was the only girl in my group of friends, and I wasn't treated like a girl. But yeah, and it's funny, the other night, I think you were sick, Alyssa, so you weren't chatting, but in the group chat, Kay and I were like sharing pictures of ourselves at that age.
Oh.
It's so funny to see how we all were.
Oh my gosh. 13 was an awkward year because I think I had, I was fully a woman by 10, let's just say at 10 years old. So I had my kind of awkward child into adult phase at like 12-ish. So I looked really weird. People called me the Jolly Green Giant. And I ate lunch in the bathroom. Yay. That was fun.
Yeah, I was a bullied kid too. I was, because, you know, I was into the horror movies at a young age, and I grew up in like I was called like a varsity blues town where football and sports were everything, and if you weren't a jock, you were not cool. So I was not cool.
Well, now we all are.
Oh, totally. Hey, you're being quiet. We got to hear about you at 12 and 13 years old.
Oh, no, it's just a nerd, a theater kid, I guess would be it, choir kid, but I was still, I definitely wasn't allowed to be a person, I think, at that point, because I had a very strict upbringing. So I read books competitively and had literally had to do reading competitions and plays and compete for like musical stuff. It was like essentially singing competitions that they do with the state, and they like judge you and grade you and then publish the grades for your whole school. And it was like a lot of that kind of stuff and I think that was overly pushed. So right when I reached high school, as I started acting out and being like, fuck all this. But middle school me, yeah, I wasn't really allowed to spend a lot of time doing anything fun because I had to do all of those things and like the gifted program and all that, which was, as we found out later, was just let's put the ADHD kids inside a room all together so they don't disrupt the rest of the class, and we'll call them gifted and we'll just let them play computer games. So yeah, I don't know. It was middle school me I don't think that she was like a real human being. So I don't remember a ton of that up until high school. But yeah, probably another reason that none of these movies resonate is because I didn't get to watch any of them. So when you guys are taught like waxing nostalgic about movies like this, it's very difficult because I know you probably already knew when this movie got picked by the group.
The people.
I was like, nope, nothing. I did not have like a tinge of emotion with this movie.
Oh, yeah. This was the public pick of all the movies that we did. And I mean, that makes sense. It's hard to really have the same feelings about certain properties or books, movies, whatever. Like, you know, Saved by the Bell is an example. All these things that are so nostalgic. If you never saw them when you were younger, it just hits differently as an adult, whether you like it or not. It's just not the same connection.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. The things I find interesting about our podcast is all of our different life experiences and like how different movies resonate with the three of us.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if there's ever been a movie the three of us have all 100% agreed on. But it's
Final Girls, I think, is the only one, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, shared trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, like, watching this was the same when I watching Princess Bride for the first time, watching Goonies for the first time, but seeing them in college or as an adult. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't get it. Yeah. Even like Back to the Future, which I saw for the first time, like, honestly, probably 8 years ago.
You know, Back to the Future?
Wow. I'll never judge anybody on that, but I find it interesting. I actually like that there's so many classics that you're just now kind of in your adulthood discovering, because I think that's kind of beautiful in a way. And I like seeing that journey.
Well, discovering's hard because I feel like discovering's a good thing. And
yeah, it is.
Watching these,
it really is. It's a new world.
I watched this one on Freevee, so there was commercials, and I was like, "You've got to stop." But like, I mean, there are certain movies that break the bounds of that being like, it does not click. You know, Monster Squad was one of them where it was so good that I still had an emotion and I still had a visceral reaction to that movie. But it is going to be very rare because a lot of these movies where it's like, is it good or is it nostalgia?
Yeah.
And I think that's a valid debate. And it doesn't mean the movie's actually bad. It just means that like we put emotions on movies and there's the reasons that we like certain things.
Rose tinted glasses, you looking back, and if you see them as an adult, especially if you have a different opinion when you saw them earlier on, it's like, oh, maybe I did just kind of put it on a pedestal for a while because I had those rose tinted glasses.
Oh yeah. There's movies like that for me where I watch them. Like I remember loving them and I watch them again. I'm like, oh, this isn't that good.
Yeah.
I think it also depends on how you see a movie. Like this specific movie my husband had never seen growing up. But a few years ago, Beyond Fest did a double feature. They had our friend Jared Rimmett and a few other, and Ben David Grabinski had resurrected Are You Afraid of the Dark and did a 3-part movie series for probably Nickelodeon. I'm not sure what. And chose to show a couple of their episodes and this movie together in a theater. And I think that was such a great experience for someone to see it for the first time, because you're getting like, hey, this is what new stuff was inspired by this movie. And then you're watching the movie with an audience. And I think if I was going to tell someone to watch this movie, because in all honesty, it's not my favorite of the ones growing up. I have nostalgia for it. I watched it on HBO as a kid. It scared the shit out of me. But yeah, I think that that's a better experience than, watching it with commercials on Freevee.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just like how you saw Monster Squad in a theater with a room full of people that loved it. And that's infectious, I think. I really feel like the experience of a movie, of how you see it really, so it definitely, it adds, the experience matters. That makes sense.
Yeah, we all saw Terrifier 3 in theaters. And I loved it. I had an amazing time. I thought that was like some of the most fun I'd had in a theater in a while. But Terrifier 2 took me like 5 tries to get through because I just couldn't do it. And I kept turning it off and being like, I can't watch this right now. This is so much. But maybe if I'd seen Terrifier 2, like around another group of depraved human beings, it would have been a different vibe.
I think I would feel that way too, because I watched it at home, and I think Terrifier 3, I think if I watched it at home, I probably would have turned it off a couple of times and gone back to it. But it was so fun in a room full of people. All right. Well, guys, if you haven't guessed yet, here we go. We're a week away from All Hallows Eve, and the veil is growing thin. Your parents have gone out of town. Your big sister is around with the Lee sisters. Some might say it's the perfect time to open a gate. That's right, folks. We're talking the gates.
Kids left home accidentally unleash a horde of malevolent demons from a mysterious hole in their suburban backyard.
Ooh.
Short and sweet.
I know. I feel like the synopsis that we've been going over lately, like all these Metal Month movies have like the shortest synopsis. And you're like, are you sure that's what the movie's about, sir?
Hey, it's maintaining mystery. I like it.
God.
This was 1987, right?
It sure was.
Most of these, I've noticed that most of these movies have been 87, 86, 87, and 88, actually, that we've covered. Cool. 87, I guess, was the year for the metal.
80s metal. Yeah. That's like when, that's when this genre was alive, was late 80s.
Yeah.
I think you got to also take into account like the satanic panic news that was happening in the US probably influenced a lot of people to make horror movies about such things.
Yeah.
But I think it's safe to say that we are just going to go into spoilers.
Yes.
This is not going to be a spoiler-free spoiler review. This movie has been out for
87. Yeah.
37 years.
It's been out a year. It's 1 year younger than me. I don't know. Me? I don't know.
Nope. I was born in 84 and I don't want to talk about the math of that.
Nope.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
So anyway, we're just diving right in. If you haven't seen the movie, you can watch it with commercials on Freevee.
It starts out with 12-year-old Glenn. He has a nightmare about being home alone. And the lightning strikes and things collapse. He wakes up and finds workers in his backyard tearing out a giant effing tree.
And little Glenn is played by darling Stephen Dorff, who, watching this, it makes me sad to see his cute little face and know that in adulthood he did a lot of e-cigarette commercials. And fear.com.
All right, fear.com is delightful. I love that movie.
It's
trash street,
beautiful
trash
hot
street.
mess. It's a hot mess.
You know what? Every time I watch, I know this is a tangent, but every time I watch fear.com, I think I understand the movie. And then I think about it a while later. I'm like, wait, what happened? I don't get it. And he's adorable in this movie, though.
He's so cute.
Like rocket team jacket. Oh, I feel like him and Corey Feldman might have competed for parts a lot around this time. Yeah.
And little Terry, who I always get him mistaken for Al for some reason because it's
Me too. Yeah.
Terry. I was totally a Terry growing up, but like if you look up Terry now,
but his IMDb is just photos of him.
There's grown-up photos you can find on the internet. He's got some like satanic tattoos, it looks like.
Oh, yes. So he really is Terry.
I think so.
I love it. Terry's like my kindred spirit.
I was that obnoxious kid.
Yeah.
Down to the vest. But no, his latest project looks like it's something like a short film with a guy who's a white clown rapper in the vein of like ICP. So we'll remember Terry as he was in the game.
Poor Mr. Tripp.
I love Terry. Their house is also incredibly, it's the quintessential 80s middle class suburban home. Like, I think that house was my house growing up, and it just captures that vibe very well because it was, obviously, but it reminds me of the Poltergeist house.
I didn't even realize that Lori is the mom from the OC.
Yes, she is. So yeah, in the hole where the tree was, they find a geode. Now, I don't know about you guys, but kids in school would bring their fucking geodes. I don't know where they got them, but I was always so jealous. I wanted my own fucking geode. I wanted a rock tumbler. My parents did not buy me that kind of stuff. But
I would have.
You like grew your own. I thought that was like a whole thing. You could there was like a kit where you could grow your own fake ass geode.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how you grow your geode, but that would be cool. Yeah, those things are worth a lot. I really would have been, because Terry was the one who was excited about that, right? Yeah, I would have been so stoked if yesterday I found a geode in my yard, because that's so cool. I wonder what kind it was.
It looked amethyst to me.
It looked a little amethysty. It looked a little like smoky quartzy.
Yeah. A lot of kids in Maine had them. I don't know where they came from, if there was like a rock store or something, but they're
probably.
I remember show and tells a lot of those like amethyst looking geodes.
I get mine from rock stores and Etsy.
We can go to Arizona and go to Rock City, quartzite. Just get all the rocks I want.
For my birthday, I really want to go crystal hunting. Like, I just want to extract my own crystals.
That's a podcast episode.
I'm so excited. Oh, it's going to be so good. Anyway.
So they find this geode. Right after, I think they find out that Glenn's parents are going out of town for a few days and leaving him with his older sister.
Who's right into her, like, trying to be cool phase.
She is.
She's about to turn 16. So,
the movie kind of feels like that's like the subtext of like two siblings kind of growing apart because of their age difference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it would probably help if Glenn wasn't such a little bitch. Glenn is no fun. If I was Al, I also would have locked Glenn in a room because that kid sucks. All right.
But the parents are like, no parties. And it cuts to the next scene.
Yeah.
Party.
Giant party.
That's a party, Al.
Pretty intense party for a 15-year-old, because I don't know any 15-year-olds who would go that hard.
Right? Oh my God.
I don't know.
I remember a party. It was either 8th grade or freshman year. It was like a Halloween party. And it was like someone's parents were still there, though. But I remember there being like 7 minutes in heaven and just being terrified that I was going to get
heaven in heaven.
This party was actually pretty tame in comparison. They weren't really breaking stuff. Al's going around and cleaning up. Like, she's doing a good job. She is responsible. She's just having fun.
Yeah. And then her friend is just like, let's summon demons or whatever. I don't know. What did she want to do?
Was it like light as a feather?
It was light as a feather, but
it's levitation.
I just love that at this party, it was kind of an actual sleepover, though. It was like innocent fun. It wasn't doing drugs all night or whatever. And I just love that they're all around the couch telling ghost stories, doing spooky stuff. And it was levitation, light as a feather, she tried to do.
But that was the late night crowd. The original party people left. So it was like the people that she wanted to stay, the fun people who lasted. Those are the ones that got to do the games. I mean, I remember doing that in high school, probably like 14, 15. playing with Ouija boards and all that stuff with friends. Like that was pretty normal.
Yeah.
You just do stuff, just summon a ghost. We had a very, me and my friends had a ghost that we summoned named Ace, and he's a little rude.
Ace.
Oh, he was a menace. Fuck you, Ace.
Was he a pet detective? Oh.
No, just dead.
I love that their whole thing is they try to lift the one dude. They're like, oh, you're not concentrating. Let's get someone much lighter than you.
Yeah.
No, but they balanced it. They were like, okay, so it can only be 2 people or it's not real. She was like, no, we're doing this. We're going to do it right. I studied this in the dark arts school, okay?
Fucking Harry Potter up in that shit. Oh my God. They lift him like he's obviously levitating. Like their hands are not on it and nobody's like upset or freaked out by this.
Yeah.
Breaks the light because he's got so high.
So sad. He's like, please stop.
That might have been a moment to pause and be like, is something supernatural actually going on here?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I did think it was cute though when he ran away and they went after him to be like, hey, I've cried in front of people too. And it's like, maybe he's not upset about crying in front of people. Maybe he's upset about the fact that he just fucking floated.
Yeah.
Like he was flying.
Yes. Oh my God. And this next scene where Terry sees his dead mother.
Oh, yeah.
Like
always in the white gown. Always in the flowy white gown.
Whose dead mom is going to appear in a white gown? I know if my mom did, I'd be like, I don't know who you are, but you're not Barbara.
Who are you wearing a white gown? White
You're not wearing sweatpants and carrying a thing of hand-rolled cigarette. I don't know who you are.
I mean, that's how it is. Whenever my dad appears to me, he's either wearing his like sweatpants and his gloves or he's wearing his like polo shirt. But who knows? Who knows?
Mom always said that if she died, she'd come back and haunt all of us. And I've never seen my mother. So I'm just like, were you full of it, Barbara? Or are you
just wait for it. Just wait for it.
But then he sees his mom. He's like, Mom, he hugs her. And it's the dead dog.
Oh, that scene is so sad. That's intense for a child sort of gateway horror movie.
They must have spent so much money on this dog prop because they keep using it over and over.
I know.
That dog cost us like 3 days budget. We got to use but it was like a bad dog.
Maybe they did that intentionally so that there wouldn't be any, no animals were harmed in this film.
But they keep using its like face. It's like its tongue.
I know.
Like, geez.
Oh yeah, that was upsetting. I didn't like that part.
It was really sad. But it is integral to the plot. So I get why they would use it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the mom turns out to be the dead dog and Terry's screaming and everyone's looking and it's really sad. They're like, he was old. Angus was old.
He was 93 in dog years.
He was 97. He was 97 in dog years.
Oh. Yeah, that was a lot, man.
And then he's just so upset. The next day where he's like, we should tell mom and dad. We should tell mom and dad. Yeah. And she calls her friends to take care of it.
Dude, this guy sucks.
Oh, I know.
Like,
he looks too old.
And he's just like, but he sucks. Like, he like drives around town with a dead dog. And then he ends up throwing it at the gate hole.
Yeah.
But I love the scene of Terry in his bedroom with a sheet. And like, he's just like chanting along to the album. Like, that was me. Like,
yeah.
Like, I would do it with Lord of the Rings.
I'm really mad that you did not give proper acknowledgement to the hair in that scene when they all came in, because the hairstyles of her fake ass shitty friends were,
oh my gosh,
what was happening with the
they had like bang competitions. I think they were silently competing with each other.
The biggest bangs.
Who had the tallest bang.
Instead of a measuring contest, it's a bang measuring contest.
Yep.
Your wig doesn't even do it justice. Like,
I don't think I could make them big enough to compete with those girls doing that Something About Mary. Like, she had the spray. I mean, like, did she do it like they used to do mohawks? Like, I was
gonna say,
she just went upside down and blow dried it.
It was one step away from a mohawk.
And someone could make so much money as an influencer by doing 80s hairstyles.
Yeah.
When we did Slasher Size, I cut my bangs to do 80s bangs. And there's like only one good tutorial out there. And it's a woman who's older than us. She's got to be in like her 50s or so. And she's like, this is how we did it. She's going, and she's teasing the shit out of her hair.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still like, there's not enough 80s tutorials online of how to do your hair.
There aren't.
But it taught me how to do it enough for the movie. But I don't think I could have done this straight up,
I'll do it to you. I think I can figure it out. I hate doing hair, but I can figure that one out. If you just want straight up weird ass bangs, I'm pretty sure that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You require a lot of Aquanet though.
Oh my God. Yeah, I bought some for the movie and I'm like, I'm never going to use the rest of this bottle. Like this hair.
Now you are.
Yeah.
So because you were like, oh, this is a metal horror movie, but is this the only metal part in the whole horror movie?
Well, I mean, the whole point, it's summoning them through the backwards message in the record. What was the band's name again?
Already been summoned because like the levitation, creepy shit was already happening before he summoned anything with this dark book, and he'd already bled on the geode. So did this summoning dark book like actually do anything?
The notes in the record, was that where he was reading, you got to have the sacrifice, or you got to have the levitation, you got to put the sacrifice in the hole or whatever. Was that in the notes on the record?
Yeah, it was in the book.
Yeah. Okay.
So all this stuff accidentally happened and just so happened to correspond with this record that this guy had. And they're like, oh, that's crazy. We just did all these things. No way.
Yeah, he's like, it's okay. We're fine. The sacrifice isn't in the hole.
Exactly.
They took him away.
As they put the dog in the hole. Like,
or what is his name? The dude. I forgot his name. Whatever.
Boyfriendish character.
Pretty young teenage boy.
I hate him.
I know.
So like, yeah, the dark book, I guess. I was like, but in all fairness, when you watch this, and I was like, it's kind of a stretch for metal horror. This is comparison to everything else.
We did not choose this movie.
This one, it shows up on every metal horror list as a metal.
Like you put it in the options though. So you put into the universe that this movie could have been chosen. I'm just saying, I think that if in the realm of metal horror, if it's like a happy little rainbow, this is like the cloud on the bottom.
We were three votes away from it being Cradle of Fear. So you should just say thank you, because
I've never seen that.
Let's just watch Cradle of Fear anyway. Let's do it anyway.
That movie is so hard. That's like a movie I actually put on as a teenager when I had like friends over. I was like, oh my God, you gotta see this ridiculous fucking movie.
It's one step away from a SN blank F film.
Why can't I say
stop creating editing?
Is a type of tobacco.
You mean Snuffleupagus?
It's a Snuffleupagus film.
It's a Snuffleupagus film.
Yeah. Sesame Street ain't coming for us.
If you guys listen to me, if we get 20 new Patreon subscribers, I will happily sit down and do a live watch of Cradle of Fear.
Oh.
You ladies can join me if you want to do this.
I would do it tomorrow.
We could get a bottle of wine and do a live commentary to Cradle of Fear if we get 20 Patreon subscribers at any level.
So all you 20 people who voted for Cradle of Fear, you know what to do.
Go give us $1 and we'll get trash and talk about Cradle of Fear.
We'll live watch it for $1.
Oh my God. That was like a movie.
Very upset.
It's so bad. It's so freaking bad. That's a movie.
I don't understand what you just volunteered me for, but I feel like it's bad.
It's not even a controversial movie in my opinion. It was like, to me, I had this, like, I liked metal growing up. We've talked about this stuff before. I had this friend who his parents were a little more lenient and they were a little rich. And he's like, check out all these Cannibal Corpse CDs they bought. And like, that's the first time I ever heard that band. But he's like, look at this VHS that I got. It was Cradle of Fear because it was Cradle of Filth. And I borrowed it and I never gave it back. But yeah, I didn't give him back his VHS and I probably still have it somewhere in Maine. But that was a movie that, yup, it exists. True story. Anyway, moving on. Moving back to the gate.
Okay. Anyway, well, we already kind of talked about the corpse dog that gets to make a delightful reappearance that night. But the monster pulling under the bed is like, oh, that's pretty. I mean, things start to get really amped up from there, which I like.
I love
he collects. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
The gooiness of the wetness of the arms looks so cool.
Oh, yeah. And this was, he collects the locusts, right? Are they locusts? I'm assuming
no,
the moths.
They're just moths.
Yeah.
But they don't die in the jar.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I did like, as far as, the monster in the bed arm, like that was cool because every kid's scared of something pulling from under the bed. And it's also like, it's a horror movie trope to have something reach out and try to like drag you under.
I'm still scared of that.
But I think the scene that was very effective even nowadays with the practical effects is when they run away from this monster arm and they see the parents outside. Yeah, I'm so glad you're home. Oh my God. And it's like,
yeah.
You've been a bad boy.
You've been a bad boy. And then like his face, talk about like that poltergeist-esque face melting.
It wasn't just the face melting. It was like he's trying to fight off his dad who's choking him. Yeah. And, very Bart Simpson. But then when he's grabbing, it's the face goes concave and he's covered in I was about to, never mind. That wording would have been very inappropriate. Cut, backtrack. He's like, his hands go in and break apart. And then it's just like this melted, disgusting ooze that is all over him that he's physically oh God. And then the head falling is awesome with the shattering. Yeah. The effects stayed, the effect, the practical effects were good on this. The practical effects for this movie actually were quite good. Really quite good in general.
So then Al goes to the yard, right?
Was this when they find the dog?
Terry leads everyone to the basement to retrieve the dark book when it bursts in flames. They then attempt to stop the creatures. Is that the right part?
Yeah, by reading the Bible.
Terry, have you already gone to Terry falling in the hole?
Oh, they go to the hole, and then that's when we meet the little claymation goblin thingy.
I love them. They're cute. They remind me of my dog Eddie when he gets mad and he wants to eat. They look like little Eddie running around.
It reminds me of Army of Darkness, but I guess it just
Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, that claymation. I love claymation. I think it's my favorite way to do effects in the 80s. And the little in the perspective that they use, the forced perspective, because I think they actually had somebody in a suit doing that.
I watched it. The Corridor Crew. Yep. Corridor Crew.
Yeah, they do. The Corridor Crew does a segment every Saturday. This VFX artist react. And I think it was probably about a year ago. I can't remember when the video came out, but I remember being like, oh, hey, the gate. And yeah, they did a whole section on how they did some of these scenes. And it's nuts because it is forced perspective, but they built giant fucking rooms so that these little monsters are actually full-size humans. But it's everything in the set is huge.
Yeah, yeah.
So they posited it together to make them look small.
Yeah, building
cute.
the big bedroom set, and having the actors only be able to stand in certain places, and the things they did with the cameras. For this being a kids movie, that's a lot of work. Even building huge legs and stuff like that just to get these little tiny creatures. So I don't know how much was claymation versus how much was actually people in suits. I feel like when you got to see them close up, it was probably more claymation, but when they were doing all the moving stuff, I assume it's suits. But seeing on that, on the Corridor Crew, watching all the behind the scenes photos that they had, because obviously you don't have a lot of behind the scenes video. That's not really a thing of the 80s that we get. But the behind the scenes photos were very interesting with how much work you put into a kids movie. It's just a kids movie, but to make these little weird demons, which
I love them.
Their little mouths.
They're so cute. It's they always look like they just got disturbed. Huh? What is this? Oh.
So they've tried to retrieve the dark book in the basement. It bursts into flames. Then they attempt to stop the creatures by reading the Bible.
Oh, yeah. He's they always do that in movies.
Harry reads Psalm 59 and the hole begins to close. But he slips and falls into the hole, where he is attacked by small demons before Al and Glenn pull him out. This is the scene where, he's down in the hole. And they're all biting him and stuff.
Grabbing at him. And
I love when he's falling in the hole. It looks like a little slide. I was like, it's kind of fun.
I know. They get him out, though. They succeed.
And then I freaking love this next part where he's I can't find my place. And he just starts reading Genesis and just yeets the Bible into the hole.
The hole's
was this when her two friends are there with the tall bangs?
Oh, the Lee sisters. Yeah.
They're they need two sacrifices or something. Or was this the same movie, or am I thinking of something else where they look at each other and they're like, oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of Abigail. I just watched that last night and she's like, they need two people. Go on.
This is when they have the cloves of garlic, though, around they're next.
Yeah, that's right.
Because at this point, they think that they've solved it. They all are getting ready to go back to bed. That night, a wall breaks open and construction workers' corpses fall through because Terry had told Glenn a scary story about them that he'd made up. The worker pulls Terry into the wall, which seals in behind him. Upstairs, Al notices a hazy image of the construction worker in her mirror before Glenn bursts into her room. Al throws the stereo at the construction worker and he disintegrates into a ton of demons. So this is the fourth.
Oh, I love that effect.
Yeah.
That was the big force perspective where they said that they had them 12 feet in the air. And I think that the zombie looked great. I know he's just like animated corpse, zombie, whatever, demon, but I thought he looked great. Good color scheme, big dude, Carl Cranes. But I think he looked really good and it held up, which like not a lot of the zombie movies from before then or around that time don't hold up as well. So the makeup effects team on this did a really good job with like, he wasn't too much, but it was just enough to be very effective and like kind of creepy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of makeup team. Good for them. The whole team. But anyway,
Terry is still in the wall, right?
Yes, Terry's still on the wall. And then a demonic version of him appears as they were trying to go down the stairs. He's like biting at them. He's like, "Argh." And Al starts like stabbing him in the eye, which is really visceral. Like, oh.
Yeah.
But then the worker breaks through the interior wall and drags Al away. So Glenn is now alone. Glenn realizes that Terry and Al have represented the two human sacrifices that would fully open the gate.
He's like, take me! Take me instead!
Oh, it's so sad. He realizes that the rocket he had gotten for his birthday is a symbol of love, light, and purity.
Yeah.
Sure, dude. And he tries, and it may stop the rise of the old gods. He makes his way upstairs as the floor collapses, revealing a chasm beneath the house. This is like one of the things that freaked me out.
Yeah. The giant Uber demon.
Yeah, like, I don't know, just like, in my head, it's like so scary because I saw it when I was so young, and it just like it comes out and it just like, keeps growing and growing. It's like a serpent demon or something.
I thought it looked kind of cute. And it just gives
little tremors looking thing with arms, like little T-Rex arms.
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it now. I didn't like it when I was a kid. Hard pass.
It'd be terrifying if you saw that open up through your floor.
Yeah, it's this weird thing where like you're like, is it a good demon? Because it reaches out and
holds him up and
just gives him a little pat on the head. He's like, hey there, buddy.
But maybe, because didn't he see something in it? He's like, take me. And then he put the eye in his hand, the eyeball in his hand, which I don't remember what that represented. I just know that's the only part I ever remembered in my life of this movie.
I see. Good effect. Like little bonding moment between the demon and Glenn. I don't know. Like the ending was really confusing to me, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
And I know from what I read, I believe that's actually the effects artist himself's hand. He stabs the eye and the struggle to descend the staircase, at which point the demon reemerges. Glenn uses a battery-powered launcher to fire his rocket into the demon, causing it to explode. Fuck yeah, rockets. Angus emerges from the closet, fully restored to life.
Oh, yay.
This is when we get our Nightmare on Elm Street endings, followed by Terry and Al, also unhurt. The kids told about how to explain the wrecked house to their parents.
Yeah.
I mean, very 80s kids movie ending, but yeah. The ending kind of didn't make as much sense to me, especially going from like, I thought a lot of things were really creepy and scary. And then it was kind of all of a sudden like, it's fine. It's fine.
They did make a gate too. So maybe I have not seen it, but maybe they go more in depth.
Maybe.
When I was reading about the making of this movie, it sounded like the writer was in a very dark place in his life. He's like, I'm just going to scribble down like all the worst things I can think of to happen to kids. Like, and then it just is like the movie they got. He's like, I guess he was poor and unemployed and his life is falling apart. And this is the movie that came out of it and also was like a hit for him. So
because he summoned the old gods and they were like, make a movie about us. And he was like, okay, man, I'll do it for a paycheck.
And it seems like a lot of the crew have gone on to make a lot of Christmas movies.
As they should.
Which, if you look up a lot of the filmmakers that we have covered this month and are about to cover for our last episode, Christmas, going on to do Hallmark Christmas seems to be what happens to you after you make metal movie.
God, I love Hallmark Christmas.
Yeah. That's our movie, guys. How do you feel about it after we've talked about it? You've watched it and digested it?
I think it's the same, is that I respect it for what it did and for the practical effects that it used. Am I ever going to watch it again? Absolutely not. Did also, though, another really interesting thing that those guys talked about on the Corridor Crew was how Stranger Things stole the font. And then they had an episode called The Gate.
They did. Oh, I meant to talk about that. Brandon and I have been doing this big Stranger Things rewatch starting with season 2 because it's a Halloween episode. We're like, oh, we'll just watch it. We've been watching it every night we eat dinner. And like last night we got to the final episode. It was called The Gate. I was like, oh, this is definitely inspired hardcore by The Gate. So as far as the font, I feel like they actually both stole the font from like old Stephen King books.
That makes sense too.
But yeah, it's, I think, and we'll talk about it next week too. Stranger Things borrows a lot from Monster Squad, from The Gate, from a lot of the Kids on Bikes movies. But I think our movie next week, they have borrowed a good chunk of season 4 from, especially one specific character.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a next week conversation, and you guys need to tune in for that because it is going to be our Halloween episode that actually falls on Halloween. Like, who would have ever thought when we started this? We've always been a Thursday episode show, and it just so happens to fall on Halloween. So lucky us, lucky you.
It's a good way to spend your Halloween if you're not going out.
What about you, Alyssa? How do you feel about The Gate in 2024?
I loved rewatching it as an adult because I can't remember the last time I saw it in full. And it's just such a nostalgic movie. That's the word I'll always use for it. I like it. It's not one that I would actively always put on, but I enjoy it. And I think that it's kind of the definition of a gateway horror for, younger audiences or even older ones. If they're just like, I want to watch something that's not too scary, but it still falls in horror. And especially if you're a fan of metal music and the trope of listening to records backwards, open up, I love that. So.
Who was the first band to do the backwards thing? In my head, it's Black Sabbath, but then I'm also thinking maybe it was Judas Priest.
I'm thinking of the Beatles. Paul is dead. But
yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe Judas Priest, obviously. But I think the Beatles might have been. I don't know if that's something that they discovered later on when this was all happening. I don't remember when that was, but I know the Paul is dead thing was a big thing.
I feel like your husband would know.
He would probably know. I'll ask him and I'll report back.
All right, guys. Well, if you've enjoyed today's episode and want to hear more longer uncut episodes, head over to our Patreon for that and bonus content and much, much more. You can find our short form reviews, news, and more on TikTok, Instagram, and video episodes on our YouTube. Like, subscribe, smash the bell. You know the drill.
And until next time, sweet screams, everyone.
And whatever you do,
don't fall asleep first.